We have seen an alleged murder with such specific text messages about the alleged murder weapon, where it was hidden, how it was placed, what was on it, but also it was very touching in a way that I think many of us didn't expect. A very intimate portrait into this relationship between the suspect's roommate and the suspect himself, with him repeatedly calling his roommate who is transitioning calling him my love, and I want to protect you, my love. So it was this duality of someone who the attorney said not only jeopardized the life of Charlie Kirk and the crowd, but was doing it in front of children, which is one of the aggravating circumstances of this case. And on the other hand, he was, speaking so lovingly about his partner. So a very interesting and, as Pierre said, riveting press conference, David.
Yeah, look, I think when someone is murdered, particularly for those of us who are political actors and we're in the political system, when someone's murdered, and for whatever reason, I don't know exactly what the motivations were of the guy in Minnesota. It sounds like he had some mental problems. But whatever, it doesn't really matter. We should say, this is wrong. People should not be murdered. People who are in public service should not have to fear being murdered. And people like Charlie Kirk, who were doing nothing more than engaging in what we always say we should do, talk to each other and engage in civil discourse, they should not have to fear violent reprisals. That's what everyone should say. But in the case of these people who are being fired from their jobs, I mean, we're kind of tiptoeing around it here, but, I can read some of them out loud if you want. These people were not online saying, well, I disagree with Charlie Kirk. They were online saying the world is better off without him. They were online saying, his wife, in this case, she's a sick F word for marrying him. I don't care about her feelings. We're better off living in a world without a disgusting psychopath. That's who we're talking about here. And I'll tell you one more thing that's on my mind tonight, and conservatives everywhere. The idea that people are saying, well, he was an extremist, or he was a racist, or he was a Nazi, or a misogynist, whatever. Therefore, we could get around to rationalizing it. Charlie Kirk was a mainstream conservative Republican. He had views that are held by tens of millions of people, including more than half the country in the last election. So if you're online saying this is justified, what you're actually saying is half the country I live in, there's some justification to commit violence or murder against them. And that's what is concerning about the people who were doing this. And that's why I don't think anybody is losing any sleep about these folks not being able to teach our children.
As you saw from the intro, the Charlie Kirk's killer has finally been charged. I believe 7 counts. I don't know all the charges, all the counts, but I do know one thing. They got a lot of incriminating messages on him. And also, they're seeking the death penalty. And many people are reporting on this. I saw from Benny Johnson's video that one of the options for the death penalty is by firing squad. And I see a lot of people cheering about that. Hey, justice will be served one way or the other. But I kind of want to focus on political violence. I know I've been beating this with a dead horse, but it's unequivocal now. Like, there should be no debate anymore that he wasn't right wing. Like, look at the messaging. Look how the media, look at the guy in the intro. Look how he was gushing. Oh my God, my love, my love. No, this is not something you want to sympathize with. This man had a deranged form of love. There's too much hate in the world, and I had to do something about it. That was his motives. We already, this is the funny part about the left. The left, they're not good at common sense. They're not good at critical thinking. At least the radicals aren't, right? Because without evidence, the right pretty much got everything dead on, right on target, right? Before we had any evidence or any confirmation, we are suspected that he was left wing, right? Even though they try to throw, oh, he was raised by Christian families, this, that, and the third. No. He's a leftist. This was politically motivated. Oh, we're not sure if it was politically motivated. What are you talking about? The evidence is Charlie Kirk's casket. This was politically motivated. And these people keep playing plausible deniability. And this is one of the reasons why I've been so focused on this issue here, because it's not both sides. But before I digress, I want to play you a clip of a 2-minute clip from that press conference detailing exactly what transpired, the timeline, and the motive for why Tyler Robinson decided to kill Charlie Kirk. Let's take a look.
Robinson's mother explained that over the last year or so, Robinson had become more political and had started to lean more to the left, becoming more pro-gay and trans rights oriented. She stated that Robinson began to date his roommate, a biological male who was transitioning genders. This resulted in several discussions with family members, but especially between Robinson and his father, who have very different political views. In one conversation before the shooting, Robinson mentioned that Charlie Kirk would be holding an event at UVU, which Robinson said was a stupid venue for the event. Robinson accused Kirk of spreading hate. Robinson's father reported that when his wife showed him the surveillance image of the suspected shooter in the news, he agreed that it looked like their son. He also believed that the rifle that police suspected the shooter used matched a rifle that was given to his son as a gift. As a result, Robinson's father contacted his son and asked him to send a photo of the rifle. Robinson did not respond. However, Robinson's father spoke on the phone with Robinson. Robinson implied that he planned to take his own life. Robinson's parents were able to convince him to meet at their home. As they discussed the situation, Robinson implied that he was the shooter and stated that he couldn't go to jail and just wanted to end it. When asked why he did it, Robinson explained there is too much evil and the guy, referring to Charlie Kirk, spreads too much hate. They talked about Robinson turning himself in and convinced Robinson to speak with a family friend who is a retired deputy sheriff. At Robinson's father's request, the family friend met with Robinson and his parents and convinced Robinson to turn himself in. The family friend spoke to police and reported telling Robinson that it would be best if he brought all evidence with him to the sheriff's office to avoid police having to search his parents' home.
I'm conflicted of whether or not I should read out the full text message exchange between Charlie Kirk's assassin and his transgender boyfriend roommate after committing the murder. And I think we all got the sense of what happened. I think that intro, that segment I just shared with you kind of gave a good brief summary of what happened. And now I want to kind of change the conversation because we already know, like, hey, justice will be served. It's just a matter of what his punishment will be. But this is he reaped what he sowed. This is what he did. This is the consequence of his actions. And I think many people understand that. It's just unfortunate that he chose to go down this route. And now he has to suffer. Justice has to be served. And he did something that he can no longer take back. The country can no longer go back. And this is something that I think the liberal left has not admitted or recognized yet. Because they're still going around talking about political violence and trying to make this comparison with the right. Oh, it's both sides. It's both sides. Well, it's not. And if it is both sides, I'm finding data that's backing up my argument, right? I've been saying the same stance since Luigi. I've been saying this stuff. Hell, even before Luigi, when they were firebombing Teslas, I was saying this, that most of the political violence comes from the left because the left tolerates it, celebrates it, turns a blind eye to it. And this is something that many conservatives are sick and tired of the liberals getting away scot-free without actually having to take a stance against what they preach, against their rhetoric, right? They want to police us, but they don't want to police themselves. And this is something I've been really focusing and honing in on. And I want to show you a couple of clips here with Abby Phillips getting checked with disinformation. Let's take a look.
This is about punishing them being the left, them being his political opponents. That actually, I think, is surprising to a lot of Americans because that's not typically what you would expect to hear from the White House after something
let's
like
talk
this.
about some polling that he used to justify those comments before he made them on TV. YouGov came out with a poll 3 days ago talking about how each side feels about violence and support of political deaths. Liberals, 16% believe it's okay to feel joy when your political opponent is killed. Liberals, very liberals, 24%. Conservatives, 4%. Very conservatives, 3%. Justifying violence. Very liberal people have 25% answered yes, it's okay. You justified that you should do violence against your political opponents. Liberals, 17%. Conservatives, 8%. And very conservatives, 3%. That means it is 6 to 1 times more likely in response to this poll on the left. Now, I'm not saying there's exclusivity on the left. I'm not saying that. But there is certainly a problem where 6 times the amount of Republicans believe that it's okay to feel joy when your political opponent is killed, murdered, whatever, attacked, and that 6 to 1 believe that they are okay in justifying violence against political opponents. That's a problem. That's a cancer within the movement.
We've heard years of the left, their loudest voices calling anyone on the right extremist MAGA Republicans, fascists, Nazis, an existential threat to democracy. Check yourself. And don't give me this both sides bullshit. Mr. Director, I want to ask you. Tell me if each one of the following perpetrators or alleged perpetrators were acting from a left-wing or right-wing political violence. The man who tried to kill Republican congressman at the congressional baseball practice, nearly killing House Majority Leader Steve Scalise, left-wing or right-wing violence?
Sir, I believe it was a left-wing ideology.
Okay. Burned down cities during the Summer of Love in the George Floyd riots, left-wing violence or right-wing violence?
Sir, I'll rely on you on these. I don't have off the top of my head. I'm sorry.
Okay, left wing. The Waukesha Christmas Parade massacre, left wing or right wing violence? Left wing. The Lee Zeldin stabbing attempt, left wing or right wing? Left wing. The Covenant school shooting in Nashville, left wing or right wing? Left wing. The Butler, Pennsylvania assassination attempt on President Trump, left wing or right wing? Left wing. The Trump International West Palm Beach assassination attempt, left wing. The Abundant Life Christian school shooting, left wing. The United Care CEO's murder, left wing. Tesla's burned, keyed, damaged, firebombed, left wing, left wing. The murders at the Israeli embassy, left wing. The ICE facilities firebombed, left wing. The Minnesota Catholic school shooting, left wing. The anti-white Charlotte and North Carolina stabbing, left wing. The attempted Utah News State firebombing, left wing. And now, of course, the culmination of this vile trend, a left-wing assassination of Charlie Kirk. So don't give me this both sides. If we want to get to unity, let's be honest. Let's be honest. Free speech, yes. Political violence, no. But let's be honest.
There's a lot of calls for unity now. I love calls for unity. There's also people saying both sides are to blame. This is a problem of political violence on both sides. I want to just explain briefly why this is so offensive to people on the right to hear right now. It's because it is not true. It is asking them to bear the burden of the guilt that harmed them before Charlie's body has even been buried. They are being asked to assume half of the guilt for a crime committed against their side, the likes of which there just is no parallel from right-wing violence to left. Has one Democrat come out and said, I apologize for calling Trump Hitler? Has one Democrat come out and said, I apologize for calling Charlie Kirk, hateful or spreading hate speech? Has one Democrat come out and said, I regret saying that the right are all fascists and Nazis? No. So I want to take this arm that's being held out to me in unity. But, you can ask for unity instead of revenge, and you should. You cannot ask for unity at the price of the truth. And I am being asked, in order to take that hand, to co-sign a lie that there is no guilt at the upper echelons of the Democratic Party, which brings me back to those two young men you started with.
Geraldo, you get the last.
Exactly. To unite with the radical leftists, right? To accept that premise of it being both sides. 6 to 1? Just like college campuses having 12-to-1 ratio of liberals to conservative professors. For every one conservative professor, you have 12 liberals to outnumber them. It's the same ratio you see with political violence. For people accepting political violence. Very liberal people are 8 times more likely to say political violence is justified than conservative people, 25% versus 3%. But both sides are the problem. No, that's a lie. That's a lie. And this is what I'm talking about. I did a tweet today, or at least the time I made this video. The double speak from the left has been a very eye-opening experience for me, right? They say, oh, Charlie Kirk spread hatred. Me, avid Charlie Kirk watcher, been watching Charlie Kirk since college, actually. Since 2018, sorry. I've been in college. I've been watching Charlie Kirk on his rise alongside Candace Owens and Brandon Tatum, Larry Elder. That's when I started getting into politics, around 2018. And people trying to castigate, oh, he was an evil man. What was evil about him? Oh, he said this about black women. Can you show me the video? I trust you, but I want to verify that actually happened and making sure you're not misconstruing what he's saying, because I know a lot of sensitive people out here like to misinterpret what someone is saying, right? RFK say, I won't recommend the COVID vaccine. Democrats hear that and said, RFK doesn't want people to take vaccines. How? He just said he wouldn't recommend it. And this is the problem that I have with the Democratic Party and a lot of the people that kind of support their side. And I want to focus on this interesting interaction, because one of these Democrat kind of spokespeople here, these Democrat pundits, are going to try to shy away, or how I interpret this, gaslight conservatives into forgiving Democrats without requiring them to own up for their side of the rhetoric, for their contributions to flamming the flames of political violence. But I digress. Enough of me talking. Let's get into the clips.
Why did I do it? I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out.
So can I ask you? So
he has
Scott, just explain what you just read.
That is the message that the shooter, Tyler Robinson, sent to his roommate. That is what he said. He also engraved the word, "Hey, fascist, catch," on the bullet. For 10 years, we have heard nothing from the left but that Donald Trump is a fascist, Republicans are Nazis, authoritarians, destroy the Constitution,
but that's also
bloodbath, dictator for a day. And he wrote it on the bullet.
So can I ask you?
And he's been obviously marinating in some kind of information that radicalized him based on what he heard in the air in this country.
So does the shooter who
just like the shooter that tried to take Donald Trump's life in Butler, he was a threat to democracy, right? Orange Hitler. He's gonna be a dictator. Taking quotes out of context, right? Donald Trump was joking. Hey, on day one, I'm gonna be a dictator. Only for one day though, and crowds laughing. Ha 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 ha. Democrats. He literally made it. Look, he said it. He said it. But they take all the context out of it. They isolate it. They like to take you literally. Then when you take Democrats literally, oh, we're going to put a bullseye on this guy. Oh, it's war. When conservatives do the same thing liberals do and take you literally with no context, the same way you do to the right, all of a sudden it's a problem. Oh, I was taken out of context. Oh, that's not what I meant. You don't give that same grace to Trump. So why you expect the same grace? Ridiculous. Live by your standards, liberal. And this was something that liberals were warned about. Even Obama warned the leftists about this. That we don't want to be caught up in a circular firing squad. Obama warned Democrats about this. 2008 Obama, maybe 2012 Obama, when he still had some sense. And now the chickens have come home to roost.
Assassinated Melissa Hortman, who was a stated Trump supporter, whose roommate said
Are you
he was
trying
a
to equate these
Does
two
he
things? I'm sorry.
represent? Can you let me finish my thought, please?
Please.
We're talking about two people in politics who both.
I'm asking you, does that shooter represent the entirety of the MAGA movement? Of course not. I would never argue that. I don't think you would argue that. So why is it acceptable to use this moment to argue that somebody, a sick individual who committed a horrific crime,
How do you know he's sick?
is somehow Are you here to argue for his sanity?
I'm here to argue. All I know is what the prosecutor said today. He read very lucid messages from a shooter who was motivated by political hate, who had a plan to get away with it. He did not sound like a deranged person. He sounded like someone who had decided to take it upon himself to rid the world of someone that he hated politically, that he thought that the world would be better off without that. That's different than some deranged lunatic showing up off the street.
I agree with that, and I think that's one of the reasons why they're fighting for the death penalty, because he is obviously he didn't suffer from no mental illness, right? There's no speculation about that. And this is political. Like, I just found out Luigi, one of his charges got dropped. I think it was the terrorism charge. It got dropped, right? There's people rattling outside for his court date, right? Deifying this guy. This is what the left is doing. The left is proving it with stats, theory, and reality that they don't mind political violence as long as it's against people that they think has irreversible views. And this is why they dehumanize people who disagree with them. This is why they mock you. This is why they call you Nazi, racist, all this stuff. I read a book. I have The Naked Communist. And one of the tactics of communists is to accuse your opponent of what you're doing. And I see this a lot in spades by liberals. That's why I joke around and said the liberals have a projection fallacy. The liberal projection fallacy. Every accusation a liberal launches at you, they're more guilty of. And it's secretly a confession. But, I digress. Let's get back into the video.
Actions were horrific, but to assign the specific, hateful, violent, awful actions of somebody on an individual on the right or an individual on the left,
I don't know that
to
you're
the
right about what
entirety
happened in
of the
Minnesota.
political conversation is incredibly dangerous and irresponsible in this moment.
Well, I think it's dangerous and irresponsible for nobody to take responsibility for 10 years of the use of the language fascism, Nazi, authoritarian, so on and so forth. It's on the bullet casing.
I have seen nothing but Democrats in the wake of this murder saying that it was awful.
You've seen nothing?
I have seen them
literally nothing?
Elected.
You see nothing? Literally nothing? Oh my God, yo. The left is losing so much ground here. It's not even funny. The left is losing so much ground. Like how like no talking head is explaining this away. No, none. The Kyle Kalinskis, the Brian Taylor Cohens, Destiny definitely ain't helping y'all. Destiny represents the liberal more accurately than any of these pundits on CNN, based on the poll numbers. Right? Here's another evidence for this. Because when y'all go both sides, and this is one of my arguments that I pointed out before, when the left start talking about both sides, right? They never want to equate both sides when it comes to response to negativity. Breaking. A Bouldering College in Maine canceled Charlie Kirk's vigil, telling all students and staff it has received credible info on threats from the ME State Police. Vigil was scheduled for 7:55 p.m. The biggest tell that the left are the baddies is that we can't even hold a vigil for a prominent conservative commentator without people stomping on the flowers or calling bomb threats. Name me a similar example for BLM. Oh, what was that? You said Kyle Rittenhouse shot 3 people. Those 3 people tried to assault him. And those people were part of a group that were out here destroying property, terrorizing Americans, destroying Americans' properties, businesses, looting, stealing, attacking people. And he happened to be a victim of a violent attack, and he had to defend himself. He happened to have a gun, and that's what happened. It was self-defense. But what this killer did, was that self-defense? Hell no, it wasn't. And you'll be a fool to try to make that argument otherwise. And this is how the left loses. This is how the left loses. Under the weights of their own lies. But hey, keep it up, leftists. Let me know your thoughts on Tyler Robinson. Do you think is there any doubt left that he could possibly be a right winger? And this is what I was talking about. This was my warning for the left. That a lot of the times when conservatives argue, they live in reality. We're arguing reality. We don't believe perception is reality. I don't care how you perceive things. I don't care about your doubt. I don't care about Destiny denying all the evidence given by the Utah governor. The facts are the facts. You killed Charlie Kirk, politically motivated. How can it not be? It's obvious you didn't like Charlie Kirk. So it's a probability. It's a high probability that you're aligned and are more influenced by the left. But the more reason I generalize a little bit is because a lot of leftists, they do this both sides stuff. They try to spread the blame around. And I think that's the only thing I'll criticize more moderate liberals for. But I digress. Let me know your thoughts and perspective in the comment section below. Do you agree with me? Disagree with me? I'll hear it all in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Please share this video if this is so inclined. It really does help me out in the algorithm. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.